Well, very pleased to have with us in studio tonight Chris Cox, NRA ILA's Executive Director. Chris, thank you, sir, for coming on the program.
Cam, I feel like I should get a baseball cap and some glasses and just take over officially.
Yeah, why not? We'll have to shave your head, but and can I get your hair? Because I could use some. I'm glad that you came by tonight. I mean, the big news, the NRA coming out today in formal opposition to Elena Kagan's nomination to the Supreme Court.
We did, Cam, and this is really important issue, and I appreciate the fact that you give me an opportunity to come back in and talk about it. 5-4, we talked this week about this historic decision in McDonald, and that it was 5-4, and how unacceptable it is that 4 justices, including Sonia Sotomayor, basically said the Second Amendment means nothing. It should be written out of the Constitution completely, and hinted that a future court could come back and overturn Heller and overturn McDonald. That's extremely troubling. But what's also troubling is this new idea that these judicial nominees can act like politicians and hide behind catchwords and phrases. Like Sonia Sotomayor, Elena Kagan hides behind precedent, which is a legitimate legal term, but not an excuse. She hides behind settled law, legitimate legal terms, but not an excuse. The truth is she has no judicial record, 0. So she said you can judge what type of nominee I'll be based on my entire career. So we agree with that. And if you look at her entire career and her political career, it does nothing but point to an anti-gun candidate. She was described as immersed in Bill Clinton's gun control policies during the Clinton administration. She worked on an effort that was described as trying to bend the law as far as we possibly can to ban an entire new class of firearms. When she clerked for Thurgood Marshall, she said that she was not sympathetic to a challenge to D.C.'s gun ban that was struck down by the court in Heller, as you know. So all of these things, also as Solicitor General, she chose not to file a brief in McDonald, which means that the Obama administration and our government did not feel that this was an important case and that the Second Amendment was not important enough for this government to be involved in.
And this, at that point, I mean, this was an individual right in terms of the federal government.
That the President of the United States, after that decision, said that he agreed with.
Wow.
So take Sotomayor off the table, but what Sonia Sotomayor told this committee was eerily similar to the types of phrases Elena Kagan was using. And we're tired of these judicial nominees acting like politicians. If you're not able to give a straightforward answer to a very simple question, and the question is, do you believe that the Second Amendment protects a fundamental individual right to own a firearm for self-defense or any other lawful purpose? If your answer is not unequivocally yes, and I think Heller was the right decision, yes, I think McDonald was the right decision, and I will do everything in my power as a judge to make sure that the Bill of Rights to the U.S. Constitution is protected and preserved, then you don't deserve to be on divorce court, more or less have a lifetime appointment on the U.S. Supreme Court. So this is an important issue. It's frustrating that these judicial nominees are acting like politicians and not giving honest answers to very simple questions. But this is too important. And I joked with somebody today, the fact that I have to say a prayer every night for the health of the 5 justices who actually read the Constitution the right way is simply not acceptable. 5-4 is not going to cut it. We need a majority and an overwhelming, it should be a unified voice coming out of the Supreme Court, if for nothing else than for the Bill of Rights. The founding principles of this country. But unfortunately, we don't have that in Elena Kagan.
Chris, I mean, what do you think about the prospects of a filibuster, or do you think this is going to come to a vote one way or the other in the Senate?
Well, we talked about this last night, Cam, and elections have consequences. And for those people who are surprised that a liberal senator who runs for president and wins would do anything other than point liberal left-wing justices, it's really not a surprise. It's disappointing, particularly because the president campaigned as a strong supporter of the Second Amendment, that he was always going to protect the Second Amendment. But what this shows more than anything else is that elections have consequences. Gun owners in this country and NRA members in this country are responsible for putting a president in office and having a Senate in power at the time to nominate and approve the likes of John Roberts and Sam Alito.
Yeah.
That's all changed. It needs to change back. We need to have elected officials who respect the Constitution enough to put a constitutional, legitimate justice up there, and not one of these politicians turned lawyers, one of these lawyers turned activists on the court. It's just simply too important.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, now, before we let you go here, I got to ask you a question. Because once again, another day, another internet rumor has started to spread here. This involving, and I've gotten this on my Facebook page, I got an email about it. Cam, is the NRA endorsing Harry Reid? What's going on here? So, Chris, what's going on here? Is there NRA endorsing Harry Reid?
Once again, this is another distraction away from what we should be talking about. We should be talking about Elena Kagan and how bad she would be as a U.S. Supreme Court justice. We should be talking about not only the historic win in the McDonald case, but the work that we have cut out for us. We have a lot of fights ahead of us, not only in courtrooms, but in Congress and in the legislatures. But instead, we've got not even another blog, the same blog who said that we had a gag order on NRA board members, which was a lie, said that we cut a deal to be neutral on Kagan, which was a lie. And instead of addressing those issues, they come out and say, well, NRA's in love with Harry Reid and is going to endorse Harry Reid. Nothing but a distraction. The truth is, we have not endorsed one United States Senate candidate for a general election anywhere in America. Not one Republican, not one Democrat, not one incumbent, not one open seat challenger. There will be a time and a place to make those decisions, and we will look at the entirety of a record. And what we do is we look at votes, we look at candidate questionnaires, we look at a whole slew of information and a whole slew of information that's available to us. But votes are important, and there are still votes pending before the United States Senate. There are still votes that are going to be factored into our evaluations and grades, and so that's why historically we've made those decisions a little later in the process, a little later in the summer, earlier in the fall. But again, all of this is a distraction. We have not made an endorsement in any Senate race.
Okay. I'm glad that you cleared that up, because I got to tell you, as you say, today should have been about the opposition to Elena Kagan. If not that, how about the new gun control laws introduced by Mayor Daley in Chicago that are going to be voted on tomorrow? I didn't see the Second Amendment stalwarts, who were talking about this rumor, even bothering to mention the new threat. I mean, this is what the gun control advocates want to hold out as what your Second Amendment is going to look like. But rather than getting upset about that,
well, what the gun control advocates really want, and what the left-wing supporters of all of this junk really want, is for us to be divided. They don't want us to speak with a united voice. They want to have infighting amongst friends, try to drive a wedge between friends. And unfortunately, there's some very gullible people out there who are playing into that. Whether that's intentional or not, I don't know. But it's unfortunate. We do have a lot of work cut out for us. We are a single-issue organization. A lot of people want us to wear different hats, and I respect that, and I understand that. And this is not about me personally and what I may view personally. There are candidates that the National Rifle Association supports, that Republicans that I don't like, Democrats that I don't like, but this isn't about me. This is about putting principle above partisanship and making the best decision to put the National Rifle Association in the best position to save the Second Amendment. That's our job. And if we don't shoot straight with people, if we don't factor in everything except party, then we're going to be put in a position where we lose all of this. If not for the National Rifle Association, we would have lost it a long time ago. But you're right, a great victory on Monday never would have happened without the NRA. 41 states with right to carry, a healthy gun manufacturing community out there who thankfully is doing well and isn't bankrupt because of a lot of hard work from NRA members all over this country. We're what's right with America. We're going to keep doing our job, keep fighting the fight. And again, those who want to cause problems, speak up, show your facts. Let's get to the point and then move on, because there's far too much work to do.
Absolutely. Amen to that. Chris Cox, I appreciate you coming in studio again tonight. I'm telling you, you're spoiling me.
Cam, it's always good being with you.
Thank you, sir.
And happy 4th of July to all your listeners.
Happy Independence Day to you too, sir.